There's an old fairy tale, an old story that goes like this. There was a wicked witch in the middle of the forest. And she had a wonderful bed, and when a wayfaring stranger would come, she would feed him and say, "Sleep in my bed," and it was the most comfortable bed you can imagine. But if you were asleep in it when the sun came up in the morning, you turned to stone. Typical fairy story, right? Unfortunately, you knew that you were stone. Your heart and soul stayed trapped in there, and she made you a statue out in her, her statuary, and you lived, to all eternity trapped. I mean, it's a great story, isn't it? Wonderful story. Once a young man comes to the witch, she feeds him, and there's a servant girl. The witch is a servant girl. And the servant girl sees the young man and loves and feels sorry for him. And so before he goes to bed, she throws thorns and sticks and stones and thistles and all kinds of awful things underneath his mattress. And when he gets into bed trying to sleep, she keeps throwing all kinds of nasty things in there so he can't sleep. And in the morning, he gets up before dawn. And I don't know if any of you know just how... There's a wonderful feeling of tremendous despair that lays on you when you couldn't sleep at all, right? You get up and you realize you got the whole day to face and you have hardly had any sleep, and there's this tremendous despair and tremendous grumpiness and paranoia and anger and so on. And he sees her at the door and he grumps at her and he yells and he closes the door. "What kind of place is this?" And he walks out and she looks at him. The servant girl, and she says, "Yeah, the misery you know now really bothers you because you can't compare it to the misery that your comfort would have bought. Don't you see that those were stones of love I threw in there?" God, by giving you those tough orders, by putting things in your life that make you see how weak you are, that make you see how helpless you are, that you're not a self-made man or woman, that you're not in control of your own life, that nobody is, the reason God lets those storms come into your life is because those are sticks and stones of love. They're trying to wake you up until the end of history or to the end of your life overtakes you, and you're still away from Him and you turn to stone. In the middle of the storm, there's loving intentions. There's a fish. And when Jonah stops fleeing from the storm, and if he continued to run from God, the storm would have drowned him. Instead, he throws himself into the middle of it, which is his way of trusting God in it, and by hurling himself into the middle of it, he's saved. Because there's love under the waves. There's always love under the waves. And the storm that's in your life has got God's loving intention in the middle of it. And the only way that it can really drown you is if you keep running from it.